Hey, what's good? I'm doing a pretty interesting deck list for you guys, or rough deck list anyway. So this is the first video for 2026 Year of the Horse, and yeah. So the deck involves Mare, um, or trying to loop this as much as possible. And this is basically a 5-color Mare kind of control deck, basically. So yeah, so I don't have this quite done yet because I'm waiting on the Lore and Eclipse stuff to be released. So yeah, so quite a few empty slots for spells, creatures, and other things from Lorwyn. And some of the stuff from the spells and things might change too. I was at the see, but I wanted to give you guys a kind of um a rough draft deck list of how this might look. So here we go. So these are mainly for Guardian Sunmare, which you guys will see in the deck list. And I might add a few more enchantments here and there because there are a few that's in this deck that I want to add to this one as well. Same thing with a few more lands. So I'm having to swap between a few different things, but yeah. Commander Sphere. So you copy a target creature on the field, in which you want to mainly do Mare. But there's a few other good ones too that you can copy as well that are in here. But Mare is kind of the main one that you kind of want to do for the most part. So I have this in here which proliferates, and from what I've seen so far from the Lore and Eclipse commander decks, or at least the Gen 1, which is the -1/-1 one I had kind of shown off. It's mainly counters, is from what I understand from the effect that got spoiled. I think it was like Tuesday night that got spoiled at some point, I think. So, but I'll have to wait and see what the rest of the deck looks like for that. But there are other things in this deck that do get -1/-1 counters and other things like that. So the proliferate is kind of there for that. So yeah. And then Legion Loyalty, creature control have Myriad. So this is useful for Mare because if you attack and you have 2 or 3 other opponents that you can also attack too, then each of the Mares will trigger, making everything more minus in power toughness. So, and potentially even destroying more things. So this card is gonna be really quite good for that. So Path to Exile, Ephemerate, which can blink the Mare, exile it, and then return it, which would get the trigger again. So United Battlefront searches, or you can grab 2 non-creature, non-land permanents with mana value 3 or less. So yeah. Shared summons searches for 2 different creatures with different names. Another kind of Ephemerate ability. These 2 basically search for any card. So yeah. So that's what those basically do. Relic of Sauron. Toxic Deluge, which kind of basically is a board wipe. But you can also use it as a way to lower the toughness, so that way you can play Plague Mare and just kind of wipe the board. So that's another option too. Mockingbird, just another creature that can copy as a Plague Mare. So the Soulstone, which can be pretty good to revive stuff. Little Unicorn. Calamity, which is another thing that you can use to copy Plague Mare. Because you can tap Plague Mare to sell, and then, yeah, so just another way. And then Eldrazi Displeasure, and their Blink for Plague Mare. So I think you guys are kind of getting the gist of what this deck will be. Is a Plague Mare control. So, and then some stuff that I showed off in the shorts. So, but yeah, and then this is one that didn't get shown, but this is another one that gives -1/-1 counters to your punch stuff. So that's also pretty good too. Another way to exile and just continue to loop the Plague Mare with this. So, and then more -1/-1 counters. Same thing with Dinosaur. And then the Plague Mare in the deck. So, Shadowfax, Guardian Summer, Wang Xing Tong for a draw, more copying of Plague Mare, so flying, more things to cast a monocolor spells, which there are a few in here. So, third to copy Plague Mare, and then Flatline, which makes everything a 0/1. So, yeah, the land base isn't really quite done yet. I'm still missing a few things, but I'll show you guys what it is for the time being. So, but yeah, so that's kind of basically it for the rough draft for right now. I'm definitely excited to play this at where I finish it. But yeah, so thanks for watching, and I will catch you. Yeah, there you go.